This is the ineffable secret, the ultimate illumination, the key to peace and power. You are God. You are God. You are the I am that I am. You are consciousness. You are the creator. This is the mystery. This is the great secret known by the seers and prophets and mystics throughout the ages. This is the truth that you can never know intellectually. Within each and every one of us, there is a place inside of each and every one of us that is all-knowing, that is almighty, that is actually a fragment of God. The Creator has planted within every creature a fragment of himself, a spark, a spirit of the same nature of himself. And thanks to this spirit, every creature can become a creator. And what is the highest self? This is the one that's going to surprise you a bit. The highest self is the self that you haven't been trained to believe in. You've been trained to believe in your ordinary awareness. Your highest self is where you begin to recognize your connection to your source, to the Tao, to the divine. You are God. Those are the three magic words. If you will accept this towering truth and dare to stand atop this magnificent pinnacle, universal consciousness will be revealed to you from within. God is there. It is He who peers from behind your eyes, who is your own consciousness, who is your very self. You are not just a part of God, you are altogether God. And God is altogether you. Now, that's scary stuff for a lot of people. We weren't raised to believe that. I'm not saying that you ought to go out into the world and say, excuse me, but you know who you're talking to, that I am God. And the reason that we laugh is because we think of God as the God that we've created in our own image. The God of the ego, the God who's angry, the God who wants special favors, the God who has the ability to heal but withholds it.
Dear ones, the human being is designed to create certain kinds of energy, mostly through conscious thought, that which you have called intent, intuition, and it is focusable. When you think of a consciousness, you think of something that might be static. He has perhaps a certain consciousness, you would say. We think of consciousness as something that is targeted, that has a focus, that has purpose and reason. You might then have a consciousness of belief. And that is something we wish to speak of. What is your belief? Specifically, what is your belief about what you can do? And it will range from nothing to everything, depending upon that which we have called the filters of the human being. But I want you to rethink for a moment what you think belief is. For us, belief is focusable energy. Inside you right now, there is an engine of belief. We use the word engine because when you start it, it produces something. It goes somewhere. It's a vehicle of energy. If you sit for a moment and you ponder what is possible with what you've learned today, do you believe it? And there will be different degrees of this. And it will depend upon that which has happened before, what you have tried, whether you believe There's the word. Whether you appreciate how much physics is involved in belief. Energy is something that you can measure and track and see. In the case of consciousness, intention, belief, intuition, they seem like esoteric, elegant concepts and not physics. But to those who have the knowledge of multidimensionality, it's a puzzle in physics. What if I told you that your degree of belief postures your ability for healing? Your degree of belief postures your ability for ascension on the planet. Literally, your degree of belief actually will determine how much you awaken to God. Because belief is energy. And this can be a block or an accelerator. Back to the filters. What have you been told is possible in your body? Not what you've been told today or yesterday, but through your life. What have doctors told you? What has school told you? What have your parents told you? What have those around you told you? Is the paradigm of what is possible with the human body. I give you this right now so you'll understand the profundity of your power. As you leave the room, do you believe what was taught today? Or do you simply accept it as something nice? Perhaps as principles of the future, or for someone else. You may see, yes, I believe it. Really? Really? Enough so that you can use it and expect the results that are possible? Early in life, you decide what is possible and impossible, and you put yourself into a perceptive prison. I want to show you just how powerful you are. You have heard of stories where a human being can heal themselves instantly. Spontaneous remission is what you call it. The people who stand around the bedside of someone who has had this happen are rejoicing and praising Spirit, laughing and crying at what has happened, a miracle in the body of their loved one. Medicine calls it spontaneous remission. Those who are spiritual call it a miracle because it's unexpected, because you don't believe it, because you don't think the human body is designed for it. Therefore, it had to be from God. Oh, dear human being, you just watched the power that every single human has within them through the energy of belief. And for whatever reason, and perhaps it was the end of the string of belief for the person who was perhaps affected, and for an instant they relaxed and surrendered anything that anyone had ever told them was possible, and allowed their body to instantly heal themselves of some of the worst the planet can give you. That's belief. You are absolutely a product of what has happened to you in the old energy and in the past. You carry around blocks and filters you don't even know you have. And the question you would ask is, if I don't know I have it, how can I get rid of it? And the answer has always been the same. Don't worry about the minutia. You have the ability to soar beyond these things through that which is your intuition and that which is the power of affirmations, the power of talking to the smart body within you, that power of training the innate, that all things are possible through that which is love and compassion. It'll take care of it. Because your innate body is responsible for shattering those beliefs through your consciousness of permission to do so. You've got to build the bridge between the energy of the conscious human being and that which the smart body does. For all of the blocks and the filters are in place within your innate because you created them and you put them there through that which is called life living. You've cognized things that you don't need anymore. That is to say, you believe things that you were told that you don't need anymore. It's time to tell innate who you are. There is a tendency, finally, there is a tendency, dear ones, for you to start listing what you can't do. You didn't even know you're doing it. Did you know that you list your blocks when you decide, how can I do something? How many times do I do it? What is the process of doage? Every single one of those is being asked because there is a block in your mind to go beyond. Do you see how it works? If you stop asking the questions of how many and how, when and where, and why, and instead go to the source of the issue, that's going to be the compassion of the Creator you carry around with you, that's literally sitting there, a jar ready to be opened and put upon you by a source which is always in you, that is the consciousness and the compassion of the Creator. You got it, old soul, you've got experience in it. The statement has been, when do you give permission? And when do you give an affirmation of the I am? Why don't you start with this one? I give permission to be the I am. You have just told your innate to clear these things and stand by for the magnificence to come. And so even without knowing how the body works, you still stand up and walk, and you still eat. You still love. You still have conversations of complexity and all these things without knowing how anything works in the human body. Not really. All you have is that great measuring device that is yourself. And it tells you how you feel, but it doesn't tell you anything about how it works. And where I'm going with this is I want you to relax for a moment while I tell you how complex God is. If it's true that God is in you, it means that the complexity of God is in you. Can you imagine something beyond even intelligence? It's not a word you can even use. Intelligence is a measure of what you think intelligence is. God is not intelligent. God is everything. God is. Beyond any measure that you could possibly understand. God is. Complex beyond anything you can believe. You don't have the tools yet, dear ones, to understand these things scientifically, intellectually, or even spiritually. Is it too much of a stretch to say that the creator of the universe is a bit beyond you at the moment, and yet lives in you? And that's what I want to tell you. Leave feeling that whatever you need is going to come forward when you need it. The tools are starting to become intuitive. The teaching, all linear. It helps you to understand one thing. You're not alone. There's more than you ever thought about who you are, who you think you are. There's more in the plan of your being here than you could ever imagine. Every single human on earth, a soul known by God, a system of free choice that says if you want to get together in coherence and look for that creator inside you, you will find it. Not only that, collectively, if you start getting together and asking the same questions, human nature will change. If the planet starts changing enough, history will disengage itself from the future. And you will see something that other planets have gone through. The beginning of a high vibrating human being. Eventually with a consciousness that is so high, if you saw it today, you would say, I met an angel. That's how high it can go in your body. The masters who walked this planet, the ones that had so much love, miracle upon miracle, in their human body, were showing you it's doable. You can contain it and have it. You can work, manipulate physics itself. You can have a coherence of peace on earth and beyond, and still be in the human body. There is so much here left to do. And the thing that you won't understand, because you don't understand the system, and you never will, really, while you're here, is beyond earth. It's how does what you do here affect the galaxy? There are strings everywhere, from here to everywhere, without the ability of being a place at all. The vibration that you create here affects the galaxies in ways you don't know. You never will know until you reach the other side of the veil and you remember. And you look and you say, how are we doing? How are we doing? And then the plan shows itself yet again in its glory, its splendor, its beauty, and its love. Don't let the minutiae bog you down. I want you to surrender to the creative source enough to say, I don't understand it, but bring it on. Love me so much that I won't care how it works. But show me every day that it does. And I'll calm down a little on how you're doing it. That's the advice. For those listening, for those in the room, to be still and know that you're God. To be still and let the things happen that want to. The physics that wants to bring you into coherence and healing and peace. Dropping the presets of the training the biases that you've had, that you can't help, will start to drop one by one as you realize they're just things you were told. The truth is what you see and what you feel and who you are. And you might say to me, yeah, but. And that is the old energy speaking to you. Recalibrate and start seeing what is possible. Finally, this. The more science takes a look at atomic structure, in the most small, and when they look at the universe in the most large, they see a commonality. They're starting to see that there is no randomness. That in the very small and the very large, they're looking at intelligent design. And so this means that in these places, which you call creation, that the very way things came together were biased for life. They're biased for compassion. It is the handiwork of God. And as you turn inward and start to deal with yourselves, I want you to see the same thing. It's about time you understand you are not random. Your life is not random. Things don't happen to you random. They happen to you in a way that you create. And that is the lesson of all humanity eventually. To create a healed earth, to create a peaceful one, to go places you never dreamed you would go.
God is love. God is love. Pure, unconditional, blissful, divine love. That's who you are. You are God. You are the I am that I am. You are consciousness. You are the creator. This is the mystery. This is the great secret known by the seers and prophets and mystics throughout the ages. This is the truth that you can never know intellectually. If you want to understand something intellectually, what you must do is analyze it, come up with a formula for it, study it, look at other experts about it, and come up to a conclusion. If you want to understand something spiritually, you must first experience it. You must come to know this within. In the New Testament, which I read completely, Jesus is about to be stoned. And he says, "Why would you stone me?" And they say, "Because you blaspheme. You are a man, and you claim to be God." And Jesus responds in his words, "Is it not written in your laws that you are gods?" All of you. We are all gods. We have within us, not the God that so often we are taught is outside of us, but the God that is love, the God that is perfect love, the soul that wants to expand because it is infinite and doesn't want to be restricted. The first expression of every individual everywhere in the universe, either in spoken word, silent thought, or feeling, is I am, recognizing its own conquering divinity. The student, me, you, all of us, endeavoring to understand and apply these mighty yet simple laws, must stand guard more strictly over his thoughts and expression, in words or otherwise. For every time you say, I am not, I cannot, I have not, you are, whether knowingly or unknowingly, throttling that great presence within you. Now, every single time that you use the words, I am, you are citing the name of God. And every time you say the words, I am weak, I am poor, I am unlucky, I am unhappy, I am sick. I am unable to attract into my life what you want. You are desecrating the name of God. God did not say, I will be. My name is, I hope things work out well. My name is, maybe things will show up that I wanted, but possibly not. He said, I am that I am. You must be conscious of how you use these words. I am. I am strong. I am well. I am content. Even if your senses tell you something different, I am. And as we move now into the meat of this program, you'll see that putting the words I am in front of something into your mind and imagination is a very powerful way to attract into your life, recognizing your own divinity. I am God is not blasphemy. It is your identity. If you want to accomplish anything, which means to become an extraordinary level of consciousness person, you must first expect it of yourself. You must see yourself and be unafraid to say to yourself, I am connected at all times to my source, to the divine mind, to the Tao, to God, to that which is the creator of all. I am a part of it. So you never want to place into your imagination any thought that you would not want to materialize. You never want to allow in your imagination to be contaminated by the way life used to be. Your imagination is yours. Don't let any other people influence you. Never allow people's ideas about what is possible or impossible for you to occupy your imagination. A disturbing element is someone who has in their imagination the possibility that they can do anything, that all things are possible. Again, it's one of those great lines from the New Testament. With God, all things are possible. Now you tell me, what does that leave out? What does all things are possible leave out? That doesn't leave out the possibility that we can defy gravity, that we can soar, that we can heal ourselves, that we can create magnificent prosperity in our life, that we can change the world. I really believe that if this message gets out there into the world, we can shift the consciousness of this planet. If enough of us begin to believe, we're placing into our imagination a world that we want to live in that has no limitations and that is based on living from a place of love and kindness and God consciousness and spiritual awareness, divine mind at work. I believe it's possible.
Of all beings, only in the mind of man is there any consciousness of want or lack of order. Is that not amazing, that in the life of one of his greatest creations, God should allow disorder, lack, suffering, and despair to exist? Oh, dear hearts, when will you see that these things do not exist except in the mind, the five-sense material world of which the human mind is composed? For the mind in the human sense is matter, material, and of the materialistic consciousness of lack, which thinks me and mine, and identifies with and attaches itself to conditions of the material world. Hence the world of illusion, the world of suffering and pain. For if you knew that you are not that mind, but the divine mind, which is the heart of God, that the very light and consciousness of the Creator was within you, then you would be free of the consciousness of lack. Then you would be free of all illusion, wholly pure and perfect. You would be one with bliss, for light everywhere is bliss and wisdom. And he who understands and becomes this in every part of his being, he is free. He is a conscious creator, a God being. Think on these things, this little seed that I have given to you today. If you put the seed away for safekeeping, for a rainy day, you will lose it. At best, it will stay only a seed. But if you plant the seed immediately, In other words, if you take this great law into the depth of your being and there meditate on it, nourish it by your light and love, and give it the freedom that it needs in order to grow, then you will have something. And what a something! This is the grain of mustard seed, which appears the littlest of seeds, yet which Jesus likened unto the kingdom of heaven. This is the idea in the heart of man, the image of what he may become, a God. And the feeling of the reality of that idea within your heart is the pearl of great price, the pearl for which a wise man parted with all he possessed in order to obtain.